Hello, hello, and thank you for our second episode. We already have our first name change to the Real Estate Technology Podcast with the three amigos. I'm here with Kirk Hawkins and Khaled Yatim. So recently, there's a lot of news in the Proptech space. We're in the Proptech space building technology for residential real estate, but there's a macro picture going on, and a lot of issues revolve around the consumer, around inflation prices creeping up, and with litigation concerns. And so, Khaled, Kirk, what do you guys see in the Proptech space concerning all these different factors, and is it inhibiting funding in your mind?
Well, Khaled has a really good point that he thinks residential real estate tech is one of the only bright spots in this current situation. And so, Khaled, tell us more.
I mean, I got to get this thought out of my head. I was thinking on this whole inflation. When I was driving here, I found this really funny sign that says gas is now more than beer. So drink more and don't drive. Drink and don't drive. I thought that was really funny. Now that that's out of my head, Proptech, I feel legitimately, and yes, I'm in the space, and yes, I believe in it and all that, but if I'm an objective viewer of this whole dynamic, right, I think Proptech is like a gold rush that's like being mined right now, and they're like, we know there's gold here and we're really, really close to it. And I really fundamentally believe that like everybody can doom and gloom the market, but there's a guy, Evan Kaplan from Endpoint, he's talked about Proptech and how like nobody's really cracked the code yet. And he's right. But I think everybody's really, really close. And I think that code is going to be cracked like in the next, I really feel like 24 months. And so for me, I think that it's going to be just a massive, massive opportunity that's like right in our faces right now. And so I'm super bullish on Proptech.
And
sorry, go for it, Kirk.
Oh no, I was going to say, just to clarify, when you say Proptech, what exactly do you mean?
Yeah, I know it's not like jargon, right? Proptech meaning anything where real estate meets technology. I think Proptech is like property tech, but shortened. But yeah, anything anything in the technology space that touches or impacts or integrated with real estate.
And we've talked, independently, privately, a lot about like how important the tech-enabled brokerage is going to be. And is that the central driving force, or is it just all of these different elements of Proptech that you think are kind of guiding things along?
I mean, when I get excited about it, I get excited about like the whole feast, like not just, one thing or the other. I mean, I just get excited about the brokerage side where you're like looking at, like a tech-enabled, transaction experience. I get excited about the post-sale like homeowners journey and all the integrations that you can look at, but for homeowners to kind of connect them to their homes more, home transaction and mortgage. I look at innovations in the mortgage space where like liquidity as a service where you can kind of buy before you sell. I look at the rental market. I mean, look at how many people are renting right now, and there's still paper applications happening. Like, I just see this whole ocean of exciting things that I would just love to like tinker with and play with and make better. And I don't think it's one. I think it's all.
Well,
yeah, and I think. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Kirk.
No,
yeah,
I haven't interrupted you already twice. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, you guys are more in the, been in the real estate world for quite a while. I'm new to it, but as a consumer, just looking at, how the industry has operated, and I get excited that, or it's just shocking that technology hasn't come into play more. But it seems like there are more in that agents and more traditional real estate brokerages or people in the industry are starting to utilize it more, and it's giving consumers better options. And I think, and it's probably because of consumers that they're even, have gone this far so far. They would love, I think a lot of people would love it to stay in the past, but yeah, consumers seem to be driving this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I look at just my experience with real estate over the last few years, and it's interesting how it's so archaic, and it's, you have to, like, you have all these clunky systems. You have to, anytime you deal with submitting an offer, there's all this paperwork, and, you have all these layers, especially in California, of the bureaucracy that you have to get through in order to make some of these transactions happen. And so I could see how all of that would kind of influence the market. I mean, like, part of my background in news is I saw how the television news industry was really slow to adjust to not only social media, but also just the internet in general. And I see real estate following a similar path, but there's an environment now that's like so ripe for disruption.
Yeah, but I totally agree with everything you're saying, Kirk. I also, I can understand why to some extent, like, a lot of real estate professionals, and you've been a real estate agent for a long time, I've been a real estate agent for a long time, and we have a different view on, like, we look at it like from an abundance mindset, I think. But, like, when there's all these tech companies coming in and telling real estate agents that they're not valuable and they want to come for their job and that tech can replace everything, I mean, I kind of understand why people, especially real estate agents, don't want to use tech, because they want to protect their role in the transaction. And I guess, so I get it entirely. And I understand why there's, I think that's part of the reason why they're slow to adoption, is because if somebody's, like, coming to feast for you, like, you want to kind of defend your turf, and people have families and they have to make their mortgage payments and pay their rent and things like that. But I feel like now is a time to look at, like, and we talk about it all the time, like, look, there's no inventory, like, there's, it's like, if we took away the scarcity side of it and we looked at the abundance side of it and said, let's make transactions better, like, I think you would legitimately see more people lean into, like, buying and selling homes more often.
Totally.
But we've got to, like, I think, win back trust of real estate professionals to get the adoption.
Well,
and that's one thing I didn't account for.
Yeah.
Into this space.
No, that's really interesting, because on that point, I've been on, the luxury side of real estate, the traditional side of real estate, and then also the discount brokerage disruptor that was trying to eliminate the agent. And my experience, the common denominator of all of this is I think a real estate agent is necessary as part of the process, and it is a lot of work, and you need a human kind of navigating all of this. And so I think the ability to kind of power that human and arm that professional with the tools needed, I think, is definitely going to be the way forward.
Question: do you think that the luxury space is ever gonna, like, where do you see tech in the luxury space? Like, is tech going to be primarily for, the $500,000 to $2 million market, or is there also, like, is there going to be some demand for it for, the 10 millions and 15 millions? Like, what do you think?
I feel like the tech could be an asset for all price points. I think ultimately what it is about making the experience better for the seller, better for the buyer, and better for the agents involved, to just streamline everything. So I think, whether it's a $300,000 condo here in Los Angeles, or a, like, $30 million or $225 million estate, I don't know. I feel like there's an advantage for everyone involved.
Yeah, like, what is,
and maybe that's me being, like, Pollyanna, but I think anyone involved in this business is going to wants to have different ways that can improve efficiencies, basically.
Yeah, it's funny, like all, and I think a lot of like, tech founders and, tech professionals have been buying real estate and selling real estate, kind of in this last cycle. And I'm just like, what do you guys think of this? Like, I mean, Jeff Bezos, like, granted, he's probably not signing the paperwork, but I can't imagine, did he enjoy mounds of paper? Like, did he think that was an efficient experience?
Right.
And I think, the higher price points are a savvier consumer that, probably utilizes a lot of technology throughout their day to day already. So I think the fact that, I think it'll span across all price points. What kind of tech would probably be different, right? Technology on the lower end, you're really trying to optimize the experience, and maybe at the higher end, it's delivers some sort of other value with the technology. Just in our last couple minutes, it would be nice to go over, like, what do you guys see happening in this litigation market? What's going on, and how is Proptech here to help in some sense?
I mean, when I saw David Boies, entering the litigation, entering as a attorney for the plaintiff against NAR and Zillow, I just go back to when, he won the case against Microsoft, on the antitrust side. And I think that's.
So what's going on? Can you back up one sec? Who entered it, and on what?
Yeah. So David Boies, David Boies is he's a lawyer, and he's a big lawyer. Actually, a lot of people may have seen him if you're watching the Theranos the Theranos show with, I think, like Amanda Seyfried is the lead. Yeah. Like he's a lawyer in that. He defended Theranos, which is probably not his favorite claim, but to fame. But he, really, really prominent U.S. lawyer. So what happened is there's this litigation where, depending on where you're at on the process, the challenge here is sellers are saying that they shouldn't have to pay buyer's agents commissions, and that they should be decoupled. So they should be able to put their home on the MLS, and those MLS should be, those listings should be exposed on Zillow, but they shouldn't have to pay a buyer's agent a fee. And there's arguments for and against it, and I won't debate any of those things, but it's interesting because the claim here is that real estate prices have risen, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last 30-40 years. And historically, real estate commissions have stayed the same at 2.5% and 5%, 2.5% to the buyer's agent for, the last 30 or 40 years. And in a capitalist world where technology should drive costs doment, right? A lot of things bring like unit costs down. Real estate hasn't been one of them. And the argument from the federal government and the argument from a lot of the lawyers is that it's an antitrust thing. So they're saying, hey, buyers should have to pay their own commission, and then buyers would negotiate the commissions likely down, and that would be a big transformational thing, for the market. And what I see in the market right now, based on, there's been a lot of wins for the plaintiffs, a lot of losses for the defendants, which is like National Association of Realtor and Berkshire Hathaway and Realogy and some of these guys. And with David Boies coming on the scene to represent the plaintiffs, I think it's transformational move.
Yeah, I mean, that could completely change everything in this situation too. Now, one of the things that we've talked about, if we take a step back about the current environment, is there's a lot of, as you like to call them, these macro headwinds. So you kind of take the litigation side of things, but then you also have all of these increasing elements that are putting a little bit of pressure on the industry. And how does that all kind of come together?
Yeah, it's interesting. I wish I had my crystal ball. I feel like, I think one of the interesting things is like on the brokerage side, and obviously, we're in the brokerage space, and we look at that and we try and look at efficiencies, but brokerages are pretty heavy to operate, you know, with all the compliance costs and insurance costs and, you know, regulation and red tape. And, you know, if you've got pressure from the consumer side, you've got pressure from the litigation side, and then you've got pressure from, you know, rising costs of, you know, labor. I think that it goes back to like our original kind of talking point, which I'm like, well, you know, what's the thing that can help all of that? And I think it's Proptech. And I think I think Proptech solves a lot of things in that it helps save good agents. You know, litigation probably will probably eliminate a lot of agents in the market, but it's going to keep the good ones. The good agents are going to maintain their foothold in the market. And I think that Proptech will help them do more volume and do more business. And I think that Proptech will help brokerages manage costs better and provide better experiences. And I think, you know, of course, on the consumer side, you know, deliver that experience, you know, right to Main Street.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great place to stop the day, end this podcast, because you know, I agree. I think Kirk sees, you know, the future is doing more deals with, you know, utilizing time efficiently. So thank you guys. Is there anything in closing that you'd want to summarize with?
I mean, there's always the commercial for NILE
Always.
and how amazing we think NILE is as a response in this environment, of course. But yeah.
And like the fact that it goes back to like, you know, built by agents for agents, right? It's like, you know, yes, there's a lot of things in the market, and do I want to see real estate agents go away? No, you know, we're just trying to maintain, we're trying to do what we can, do our part to make real estate agents hyper valuable, deliver that better experience, and like, you know, make this transaction process better, help you. I mean, Kirk, you do a ton of business, and, you know, and to just make your life easier. I mean, you spend a lot of time on the phone with clients, you know, guiding them through and things like that. And I feel like there's a lot of things that, a lot of time we can save, you know, using technology. And, you know, that's really what we're here to do. And I'm happy about the work we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things is you're not only adding value to the client by trying to reduce as much stress as possible, but that benefit also applies to the agent as well, giving the agent more time to either chase after listings or, you know, have more of a work-life balance too, which is always the thing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Awesome. Well,
This is
thank
always
you
fun,
guys.
guys.
Yeah. Thank
Go
you
team
for,
go.
Go team go.
for another good podcast, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good.